Okay, we are back to Mishlei, Monday Night Mishlei, 12:8. And as I mentioned in the blurb, I've been wanting to do this puzzle for a while. I think when I was preparing my high school curriculum, I think I must have come up with an idea on this and then like ran to a problem, and then I haven't come back to it since then. So we're talking like a long time. I'm very excited about this. I feel like I know this is going to sound weird. I feel like usually we've had the problem lately of there being pesukim that sound too obvious. I feel like here we're going to have the problem of there are too many ideas. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Lefi sichlo yehulal ish v'na'ave lev yihi lavuz. Who wants to try to translate?
Yeah, I guess a man will be praised for his brains or wisdom.
Okay, let's use for Seifo, we usually go with intellect, even though we're gonna have to define it. Definitely not brains for his intellect. Now na'ave lev na'ave we would need to look up, but I've got the translation here is bend or twist. It's actually the same word, let's say twisted, perverted. It's actually the same root as the word avon, like iniquity, like distortion, corruption. So na'ave lev.
So I guess someone who has like a perverted, I guess lave heart or mind or thoughts.
Yeah, heart or mind. Okay. Booze.
Well, isn't like mivaza like disgrace or something?
Yeah, right. Will be for disgrace. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only perverted is an actual thing, but I think that in English, because the word perverted is like associated with like sexual stuff, and we don't want to have that here. I'm going to go with distorted or warped. Yeah, Ayala.
Can you say according to his intellect?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't know why I said for. According to his intellect. According to his intellect, a man will be praised, but one who has a distorted heart or mind will be for disgrace. Okay.
But what was wrong with the first way of translating
well, Lefi means according to, or in accordance with. Yeah, you can say based on, but Lefi means based according on. To. Yeah. Okay. Mitzudas ציון says nave means removed. Okay. Or milashon na kasher yomar min za'ava. So it means like a removed heart or mind. Okay, which is, I know that sounds really weird, but that's how he translates it. Targum says something that is much more straightforward, which is Gavra mishtabach befuma de suklanusa. So you know what? Oh, that's interesting. Befuma. I just want to see something here. So it might be that befuma literally just means according to, but I just have to check it because puma does mean mouth. And I don't know if he's saying if bifuma means in the mouth. Let's see, ayin pei. Let's see here. No. Ayin. All right, I'm just going to treat it as the same. So a man will be praised in accordance with his understanding. V'chasir rayana yehevi lishtusa. But one who lacks thought, that's chasir rayana, yeheve lishtusa, will be for shtusa, is foolishness. Foolishness. Okay. All right. Art Scroll says, according to a man's wisdom, will he be praised? See, I don't like it when they do that. Okay, this is maybe it's a pet peeve of mine, but I think it's a justifiable one. In English, I think we should try to translate the terms that are like knowledge terms as consistently as possible. So we have a word for wisdom, which is chachma. Seichel, we need another term. I don't care if it's intellect or intelligence or comprehension, but we shouldn't like mix it up. According to a man's wisdom, he will be praised, but the distorted of heart will be put to shame. Okay, that's fine. Living Knox says a man will be praised in accordance with his intelligence. A man whose corrupted heart will be scorned. Scorned is good also. I'll say scorn. And Alter says by his insight, a man will be praised, but the crooked of heart is despised. Yeah. I'm going to add a couple of these other terms here. Okay. Intellect, intelligence, insight, comprehension. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's move the Targum because that's not the main translation, and let's start working on it. Okay. So what are the questions and problems here? Yeah, Rivki.
So if there's no like clear characters, is this teaching us about those people still, or is this just like a general pasuk?
Okay, right. So what do we make of the fact that there are seemingly no Mishleic characters? Okay, is this just a general principle? Right, it's definitely stated that way. I'll just say there are no. Yeah. Yes. I think my dad's next. Yeah.
Yeah. The first part is not always true. Some people are criticizing, derided because of that.
Okay, right. Is this true? Aren't there people who are derided for their intellect or praised for their crooked hearts, minds? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that seems to be a good question. All right. Yeah, Rivki.
Yeah. Also, I'm not like understanding how like a good intellect and Nave Lave are opposites here.
Okay, how are seichel? Let's see, seichel, which is intellect, and naave lave, crooked of heart or mind, opposites. Yeah, Isaiah.
Okay. Can you hear me, by the way?
I could. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Who cares if you get praised or scorned?
Okay, good. Who cares if you get praised or scorned? Right. Good question. So what? Yeah, Ayala.
Praised or scorned by who?
Okay, good. Praised or scorned by who? Yeah, Ariel.
Yeah, I guess what does it mean? What kind of intellect are we referring to here?
Mhm.
And also what does it mean to have a distorted mind? Or
Okay, so what does seichel mean in this context? And then let's say, what does lave mean in this context? And what does it mean to have a naave lave?
Yeah, and just on question number 2, I don't know if this is also asking the same. This is asking the same question or not, but can you also be like degraded for your intellect? Meaning,
Yeah,
like
that's what
based
I
off of
understood
your
that.
derided is.
Yeah, it was like put down.
Well, I was more talking about like meaning the premise of the question is that you have chachma, but because you don't utilize it, then you'll be degraded, or
I was saying, okay, so I guess I'll include both. Yeah. So aren't there people who are derided for their intellect, or who have intellect yet are still derided, or praised for their crooked minds, or praised despite their crooked mind? Those are two permutations. Yeah. All right. That's good. Yeah. Rivki.
So in terms of the practical decision making, is it just like be smart or like use your knowledge and intellect, and then like what are we learning from this practice?
Yeah. Okay. Right. What is the practical implication beyond be intellecty, right? And don't be crooked. Yeah. Okay. Ayala.
I'm just noticing that it says like Yuhulal Ish, which I feel like, or I don't see Ish so often. And then the opposite is Na'avel Lev. So like it's defining him by that trait.
Okay.
So what is the significance of that?
Okay. Yeah. That's a good question. Okay. So so why does the first half reference an Ish person, whereas the second half defines him in terms of his heart? Yeah, Alex.
My question is, what would happen if you're kind of outside the social parameters of like people? Like, does it matter that there's no one around? Like,
Okay.
what is the point?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to add that to the praised by whom. And what if you are not in the social realm, right? Is this only a social consequence? Yeah, Avital.
I was just wondering if there's the same like measuring stick, I guess, for both, that like, does this lefi like according to this is that, and is it for the second one also, or is it
Okay.
just like not as
Yeah.
measured?
Okay, that's a good question. That is a good. I didn't even notice that one. Okay, so let's say like this. Let's say, what does lefi in accordance with mean, and then what can we infer by its omission from the second half? Right? Does it mean that there is no proportional in accordance with, like he's just going to be scorned, or do we apply to the second half? Yeah, Ariel.
Yeah. What's the scenario here? Is that
Okay? Yeah, that's a good one. What is the scenario here? I don't know why I'm getting the impression, I'm getting flashbacks to childhood memories for some reason of going to a water slide in a park, and it's just like person goes up to the slide and then goes down, and someone else lines up and then goes down, and you're just getting a steady stream of good questions here. It's fun. Okay, yes, next.
I guess I had the same thought as Ariel, is who's the audience? Who's receiving the
Right. Okay, so who is the audience? Who is the audience? Yeah, I'm putting them in one because we usually
It's the
put them
same
in
as
one.
10, isn't it?
Oh, sorry. No, the scenario, I think the decision-making scenario is what Ariel was asking about.
Okay.
Yeah. They are related, but yeah. Okay, Isaiah.
So what are these people being scorned and praised for? Is it for their intellect or lack of intellect itself, or like for some action that they do because of that?
Okay, so what exactly are these people being praised or scorned for? Their intellect, heart per se, or for something, some action, something that results therefrom? Yeah, Tamar?
I think this is a sub question of 3. So with what does seichel mean? I think
Yeah.
that I guess the question is like, is it specifically seichel as opposed to other intellect related terms?
Yeah. Okay, good. So like why specify seichel as opposed to other knowledge terms? Yeah, Alex?
Is your like seichel something that's relative to change? Like, is this a like constant state, or can you change it?
Okay, good. So does seichel in this context, is seichel in this context a changeable entity or not? Yes. Yeah, you're next. Yeah.
The question is, will a man be praised for other things in his intellect?
Okay, so all right, so is the implication, let's see, is the implication that a person, oh, you know what, we actually have to ask another question before that. All right, sorry, this is a fault in my translation. You in Hebrew, then anytime you have, I don't know the proper grammar here, but when you have a, I guess, I don't know if you call it imperfect, but this can either be translated as will be praised or should be praised. Okay, there's two, and that's going to be all cases in Hebrew are like that. That it could be either. So I guess first of all I have to say, I'm going to just translate that into a question here. Is this saying, is this describing a reality or saying what should happen? Okay, and then we can ask the question: is the implication that a person will or should only be praised for seichel? Or is this just one thing, just one I guess, yeah, one thing that he is praised for? Yeah, that's not the most eloquently stated question. Yeah, Arya?
Yeah, what's the Havamina?
Okay, let me put that down here. What is the Hava Amina, which means, i.e., why do we need to be told this? What would we have thought otherwise? Yeah. Oh, you have something else, Ariel? Or
No, that's all.
okay, Rivki?
So does the translation that you just corrected also apply to the second half, like with the yud?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the-
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of slashes here. Yeah. Okay. Woo! That was a whirlwind of questions. All right, so let me import these to the chat so people can have them all, and then we'll do our thinking, and then we'll do our what we usually do. Okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry for that. That's a little bit messed up here. Okay, and then all right, let's take 5. And then let's take 6 through 11. And then let's take 12 through 16. Okay. So let's take a minute to think. Lots of directions you can go, I think. And you know what? I'm going to anticipate this. Usually I don't try to regulate the pace, but I'm going to try my best, because I know there are going to be a lot of approaches, to not dwell too long on either approach. I think that's what this pasuk demands. Okay, so we'll try to make sure that everyone gets a chance to say their thing. And if you don't have an idea, then don't feel self-conscious just because I'm saying that I see a lot of ideas. Yeah. Okay.
There's no way you cannot make someone feel self-conscious with that introduction. It's
Wait,
like,
it's
I think it's their choice. Yeah, sure.
Could it be according to his own intellect or no?
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. What's the other possibility?
Like him about himself.
Oh, meaning meaning I don't the word seichlo definitely can mean his own intellect. Yehulal does seem to be implying that he is praised by someone else.
Okay.
Right? Because otherwise it'd be Yishalel. It would be he praised himself. Yeah. And in fact, there are going to be meforshim who quote that pasuk of Yishalel. So the idea might still be relevant, but I don't think it could be translated as he'll praise himself. Okay, let's think. Be right back. I forgot if Rav Hirsch translates it. No, he doesn't. Okay. Okay. Who's got an idea? Isaiah. I'm going to take notes this time during the thing.
All right. So I think that this pasuk, I think the thing that's interesting to me is that there's no like Mishlei characters.
Right.
I think maybe that's what that's saying is that this isn't like a decision-making like general approach. This is like a strategy for a specific moment.
Okay.
In the moment that I think that is, it's like when you're tempted to make a decision that's like completely emotion based or like completely removed from reality.
Yeah.
This is telling you like if you use your seichel instead, like you will be praised in accordance with how much you're able to use your seichel in that moment.
Okay.
And otherwise you'll be scorned. You'll be burned by it.
Okay, so I not that this is a knockout of your idea, but I think this is where the question that my dad asked would apply, which is that really true? Like, it sounds like there have been lots of cases of people who were either visionaries, or they were just more what do you call it, geniuses, or they just saw more into the future than others, and so they were actually like mocked for their seichel, and in some cases, like, I mean, maybe that's what this is. Maybe that's what this is saying, is that actually, as I'm saying that, maybe that's what it's saying, right? That eventually odds are that you will be recognized.
Right. And also that
yeah,
usually making a good decision turns out well, even if sometimes people are, scorned because they're too smart.
Right. Like so yeah. So this is so right. So in other words, okay. So let's get a clear idea. Who's this talking to then?
It's talking to anyone. So
okay,
that's why
so talking to anyone, and
not like a Mishlei character.
Right. But what's interesting about it is usually Mishlei will pitch a decision based on the objective consequences. Here it's saying that you're going to be praised, right? Which is a social consequence. And not even like a consequence. It's just a people are gonna recognize that you did this. So it seems like it's talking about someone who it might be talking to everyone, but it's talking to someone who does care about social approval. Can we use that to refine the idea?
Yeah, because I think like the way I was seeing it, it's like a person who's already in the grips of like making a bad decision is looking for a way out. So social approval might be a way out.
Okay. So I'm going to say, let's say a decision-making crossroads. Is that a fair?
Yeah.
And is telling him that all things being equal, people will praise someone who is known to act intelligently and to degrade the opposite, and that should be the deciding factor. Yeah. If anyone wants to add to this, then just jump in. I wish we need a system where there's like a one color hand for like your own idea, and then you could put up another hand for oh wait, can you do multiple reactions at the same time, or can you do one at a time?
I think you could do two, but you could also change the color of your hand if we decide.
Right, but I want it like there to be like
Can confirm you can use two.
You can? Okay, good. Yeah. So let's do this. So if you have something to add to Isaiah's idea, then use the party thing. Okay. Is that what you call that one? Celebration? I don't know. Anyone have anything to add to that? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. Oh wait, did I scroll down by mistake?
I had the party thing, but not the hand, so it probably didn't.
I see it's down there. Oh yeah, right. So
okay,
I guess okay, yeah. Go ahead, Tamar.
Okay, fine. I'm not sure if I'm giving a different interpretation of Isaiah's idea, but this is what I thought he was saying.
Okay.
Which is that this is like a sort of like a low shema that a person can use to motivate themselves at that kind of crossroads.
Okay, good. Right. So in other words, really a person should make decisions based on the results, right? And really you shouldn't care what people think unless there are practical consequences of caring what people think. But in point in fact, most of us are influenced by what people think, at least those of us who are learning Mishlei. I mean, David Melech, I think is past that in Tehillim. And so you can use this and say that, people will recognize my intelligence. And I do think it's important to say what Isaiah, or the question I asked on Isaiah, that it does not mean that they're going to recognize your intelligence now. And there are cases where it takes, years or decades for people to recognize your intelligence. But when they do, I mean, the payoff of that is it's going to be like you were way ahead of your time, so that's an even better thing. So this is as a low lishma. Let's just add that. Yeah. I actually made a typo. You know what you call a bad low lishma? A low lishma. But yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Let me just scroll down. Anyone else have all right, anyone else have anything to add to Isaiah's for now? Nope. Okay, good. Alex, you're next.
So I kind of went in a different direction and interpreted it to be about cognitive dissonance. where
Ooh,
people
okay.
generally are and should be praised at their intellect level, but when they use that intellect for like distorted means, then it's no longer a praiseworthy thing to be intelligent.
Okay. I follow your idea, but I don't follow the use of cognitive dissonance for that. Because my understanding of cognitive dissonance is when you are acting contrary to your own ideas or values.
Well, I feel like there are often times when people kind of get like big brain ideas, right? Where you like think yourself like into a hole where you find loopholes and things to like, you know, you use your intellect in a way that let me collect myself.
But let me state the idea that I'm hearing so far. Okay, and then we'll develop it. So
yeah.
So Lefi Sichlo does mean that based on like the actual quality of your thinking or your intellect, but Nave Lev is not just the opposite of your intellect. It's really qualifying it. It's saying that depending on how you use your mind, you know, like if you have a really like you know, sharp mind, but you use it for nefarious purposes, then you should be scorned.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the question is, how do we read the rest of the pasuk? So yeah, if you could give me an example, maybe then we can work with that.
So say you're
like
someone. So like say you're very smart, but then you use that intellect for something bad, where say you're like really learned and you know a lot of sources in like, you know, Torah and stuff, but then you use that to find loopholes and to act in not halachic ways.
Okay. All right. So all right, here, let me try this out. Okay. So Alex's idea is like this: is while it is true that a person will be praised for the quality of their intellect, that will only happen if they use their intellect for upright purposes. But if they use their intellect for I'm going to say nefarious, because like nefarious purposes, then they will be degraded. And I think I'm going to just go into Avital's observation about how it does not say Lefi in the second one. You could just say they will be degraded no matter what, but I want to say that they will be degraded in proportion to their intellect, right? Like when someone really smart uses their intellect to like to do something really evil, then that is looked down upon even more than someone who just like is of average intelligence, you know. Yeah. Does that work for you, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I like that approach. Anyone want to celebrate with with an addition? I'm so thrilled that we worked out a new system. It's been 2.5 years. We got a new system here. Okay, good. Okay, because I never figured out how to do that before. How to let people add in without losing their place in line. You know, it's really good. Okay, good. Rifki.
Okay, so I feel like this might be shot down very quickly because I don't even know what I think of this idea.
Okay.
But I was thinking like that there are 2 steps in my head of like what this pasuk is speaking about. So number 1 is like the prototype of what a person should be, like the highest level of what a person should be. And number 2, and this is the part I'm not as sure about, is just because it doesn't specifically say like any like a Rasha or a tzaddik or anything like that, I was thinking that maybe this could be about like the people that you surround yourself with, like meaning like you're the community that you're choosing to be in. So like those are the 2 halves I was thinking of, is that for yourself, first of all, like we know like fundamentally we should be using our seichel and using our body in order to make our seichel like higher and like actualize it. And then if you are in that mindset, you should want to be surrounding yourself with people that are like that and that will praise you, not for wanting praise, but because you know it's the right thing to be doing, the right community to be in. And the opposite for the other half, that a person that like you don't want to be in a community that is the other half of the pasuk.
Okay, so I think I get the first half, and let me try saying the first half, which is that, and this is also kind of responding to my dad's question about is this true? That the reality is it's not true, right? In the sense of like people are not automatically going to praise you for your intellect. You need to be in a place where people recognize the value of intellect. Like if you're, you know, in a like I don't know, if you are a I'll be stereotypical here, right? If you are a science nerd and you're hanging out in a group of like of dumb jocks, so then they're not going to recognize that you're that you're going to like change mankind by like coming up with some some new invention, right? Or let's say in the Torah realm, then there are Jewish communities that value different things, and allegedly we all should value Torah and learning. But it's not always recognized that that's the primary value of the community. Some people value materialistic things. Some people value like appearances. In terms of like a black hat is more important than like a white idea. I don't know. That's a pure idea. I didn't mean that in a racial way. I meant okay. I should stop now. It's okay. I can say that because I'm not white. But anyway, so in other words, you should surround yourself with people who will recognize that the true measure of a person is how they use their mind, and that's the first half. Okay, now what is the second half? Someone who is, in other words, and you should surround yourself with people who will scorn and condemn and degrade. Oh, sorry. See, I think that's the better way to read it. And maybe this is what you meant, but I thought initially you were saying you should avoid being around people who will do the second half. I think it's better if you say you should be around people who will.
Yeah, I was reading it like that, but that is better.
Okay, yeah. All right, good. So let's just get this down in note form here. Okay, so Rivki's approach is this pasuk is describing the type of social group you should place yourself in, namely people who value the way a person who value your mind and praise you on that basis, and who degrade I think Alex's thing fits in well here, your misuse of mind when you misuse it. Yeah, I mean, again, this is a huge thing. I know there's so many so many examples of where this is needed, because let's say like, again, in the people value appearances, people value wealth, and like there's so many other things that people praise you for. Really, like the thing that is important is your mind, and the more you're in a community like that, the more it'll positively reinforce this. Like I think this is directed at someone. You could say this idea in Tehillim, and it would be like, maybe about what true human perfection is. But in Mishlei, if you want to develop your mind, placing yourself around people who are going to positively reinforce that is a good thing. That's going to make you develop your mind even more.
Yeah, I also just wanted to like quickly add that, like, I was thinking that this idea like is really for all paths, and like not paths, but all developmental parts of life, because I was thinking like right now, like about different communities and like places that I could be and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I also think like for a high school, like when you're choosing a high school for your kid, like you can send them to a high school that's like quote unquote known to be like more jappy or like in town or whatever it is, or you can send them somewhere, I'm not biased, but somewhere like Shalhevet, and like really like improve their intellect in that way.
Right. Yeah. This has a lot of implications and applications. Yeah, that's good. Now, I realizing a flaw in the system, right? The celebration thing doesn't last, right? So I guess I'll just ask now, anyone have anything to add to that? Yeah, Alex and Tamar. Let's go with Alex and then first, and then Tamar will be after. Yeah.
Is this take meant to say that you should find yourself in social circles that do both praising good and criticizing bad?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying because that would like create. What about like a situation where there are groups that just specifically are always critical versus praiseworthy of good things?
Right. So I was learning it just for the sake of the pasuk, that you should be in places that praise good and criticize the bad, because I do think both are necessary. I think if you have one without the other, then like let's say like the extreme of the only praising the good stuff, I think trends towards a sort of self-congratulatory, everybody wins, like we let bad ideas float because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Like that could be very, very bad for intellectual development. And that's why, for example, like I'm not insulting all the sages of Yerushalayim, but the Gemara does say that or I don't know where it says this, that we rely on Talmud Bavli more than Yerushalmi, because in Yerushalayim the approach was everyone just tried to build up each other's ideas, in Bavli, people tried to shoot down each other's ideas, and that yielded better results because it eliminated mistakes and bad thinking. And then I think the other thing is I don't think I need to explain as much why it's bad. If people are only critical, that is just very, very bad for morale and and for development in that way also.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to add that to the summary here. You need both approval of good and approval of bad. Yeah, Tamar, what do you want to add?
Just something I like about this idea, which is that I thought it was kind of funny to have this idea of like something that should happen in the pasuk, because it doesn't seem very practical, but I think this is a practical thing.
I think so. I think that's good.
That uses the should. Yeah,
I think so. That's really good. Yeah. Ayala?
I have first a question on this idea first.
Sure.
So I'm not exactly seeing how this is like from the pasuk. So are you able to just read the pasuk?
Yeah. So we're saying, I know what's bothering you, but I'll read the pasuk and then we'll try to explain it. A person should be praised according to his intellect, and a person with a crooked heart should be for degradation. So that's really the way you should do it. So where are you getting Rivki's idea then? Or where's Rivki getting her idea that you should be in a social group like this? Well, since you can't control what people will praise, the only way to accomplish this is to situate yourself with people who have this value. So the implication, the direct message is Shlomo saying you should be praised for intellect, for good uses of intellect, and degraded for bad uses of intellect. But the only way to practically implement that, which is implied by the pasuk, is to surround yourself with people who will do this. Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
yeah, that's go ahead. I'll remember what I was going to say.
I was going to say a new thing. So
okay. I was just going to say that of the many things I love about our community in yeshiva here is I think that we really have this quality in just baked into the culture, that because people were brought to this community and chose to be here because of the love of learning, then there is this culture where you say ideas and good ideas are appreciated, and if there's a bad idea, then you'll get called out on it, and it won't be personal. People will be able to take questions and criticisms and not view it as a social taboo or anything like that. And I'm very grateful that I can I spent the last 2 decades in the community like this, where it's definitely helped my development. Okay, any other additions to this approach? Okay, so now let's go, Ayala, you're next for your approach. Yeah.
Okay, so I recently listened to your morning Mishlei Shiur on fool's relationship to wisdom. So I think it's being influenced by that. Okay. But I see it anyway. Yeah. So I'm reading it as according to his either intellect, intelligence, or comprehension, a man will be praised. And I want to say that this is in terms of a person when they're either sharing ideas or thoughts or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that the trap is that it'll someone will think, or someone I guess is looking for social approval, and they'll think that saying a complex or whatever idea will get them more praise. But if that idea is not really true and it's distorted, it'll end up being found out and it'll be for disgrace. But I think that why it says lefi sichlo is that any bit of insight or comprehension which he shows, that will be recognized and praised. So I think it's easy, someone can think that if they're not fully understanding it, if it's not fully insightful, then it's just they would rather say an idea which seems smarter, but that's not gonna end up being praised.
Okay, I get part of that and I don't get the other part. So hold on just a second, let me see what I can get. Okay, so one thing, I think I like the way that you're reading lefi, that it is it's proportional, right? Meaning it could be a lot, it could be a little, but anything that you get that demonstrates anything you say that demonstrates your intelligence will be recognized and you'll be praised for that. Say again what the trap is and how the trap is, how you see the trap in here.
I think someone can think that if they have a big elaborate idea,
yeah,
that looks fancy, that they'll be praised more for that as opposed to like understanding something simple or giving a small insight. But if that elaborate idea is like in any way distorted, then I think it'll end up being found out and it'll lead to much more disgrace, and they'll actually get praised more for a small idea.
Okay. All right. So let me try writing this and see if I can get clarity through the writing. Ayala, which is that that people will praise you for whatever insight you have to offer, whether big or small. But if you say something distorted, then that will lead to your degradation. Okay, and then here's my practical application, which I think is what you're trying to say. The practical lesson is that it's better to be conservative and say less, but make sure that what you say is really sound, than to be overly ambitious, fancy, complex, etc., and risk saying something unwarranted, because that will get you degraded. Is that the practical implication you were trying to go for?
Yeah. What do you mean by unwarranted though?
Well, unwarranted is you'll find this a lot in Shiur, is that someone will be saying a good idea and then they'll develop it and more, and then they'll say something that's just taking the idea too far, or they'll take a step that just like it's clear, like, and then when they get called out and they'll be like, yeah, I don't have any proof of that, I just wanted to say it, or like, and people realize like, oh, that didn't stem from their intellect, and it kind of casts into question like, well, what was the first part just lucky? Yeah, Avital, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so I just went on a little like bio trip with my school.
Yeah.
And it happens to be like girls like to sound really smart and ask these questions that they don't even know the mechanisms of what they're talking about. And like at the end of the day, like I'm somebody who doesn't even know anything, and like already they sound stupid to me because I know they don't know anything. And so I'm like thinking about the guy who they're talking to, who like is an expert in the area, whatever it is, and he's probably like, this kid literally has no idea what she's talking about. So like you think you're like coming out with all these like grandiose ideas that everyone's like,
Yeah.
wow, she's so smart, but like you don't even know what you're asking.
Yeah, that's that goes well for those who did hear the I have to reference it because it goes so well, and I just mentioned it in my morning Mishlei Shiur last week, 24/7. We did this pasuk that says, Ramos le'evil chachmos bashar lo yiftach pihu. Wisdoms are a precious stone to a fool. In the gate he will not open his mouth. I mean, there are a lot of translations for this. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So I'm just gonna say the idea. The idea that I think that Ayala was referencing was from Sean, and Sean said that we've been developing this theory of chachma, basically where chachma is like the facts or received knowledge or like superficial things that you get. It's knowledge, but it's just like, it's facts that you hear. You don't really understand it. Tavuna is where you understand it enough to be able to like understand the underlying concepts, or you can like make comparisons, or you can make derivations, or you can like you can infer stuff. And then da'as is the highest level, which is where you know the thing so well you've internalized it, and you can make intuitive leaps that don't have any solid basis. So Sean wanted to say that the fool, a precious stone is like a highly refined, polished entity that is like in its most perfect state. And the fool, any fact he gets, he treats as the ultimate level of knowledge. And he'll pride himself on it, and like display it and like parade around about it, even though he doesn't have any understanding about it, and that's it sounds like what Avital is describing, that these people like they have the words that correspond to the knowledge, but it's not actually like understanding. So yeah, okay. Any additions to what Ayala? Yeah, Rivki.
Yeah, I just have a question. I understand the first half.
Yeah.
But I think I'm having trouble seeing the second half like in the pasuk.
Okay, so let's go back to the pasuk. So I think the way that Ayala would be reading it is a person will will be praised according to their intellect, but one who has a it almost fits in better, the removed. One whose mind is removed, or one whose mind is distorted, will be degraded. And it's a similar instructor, it's a similar warning. Oh yeah, sorry. It's basically saying like don't let your desire for being praised for your intellect lead you to put forth something that's distorted, because then you'll get degraded and then you'll lose everything. You'll lose the thing that you wanted to get. Yeah, so that's yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, is that more similar to Alex's idea? I just feel like it reminds me of
structure. Yeah, and structure is both Alex and Ayala are saying that the second half is qualifying the first half. It's not opposites. Yeah, and I want to also just I feel like I've quoted this anecdote a lot in this Monday Night Mishlei Shiur, but our family friend I've said this many times. I'm gonna say it again though. Our family friend, Carol Zukimura's husband, was like the head magician of Honolulu or Hawaii or something like that. And I was really into doing magic when I was young. And the lesson he taught me was it's better to know to practice one trick 100 times than to practice 100 tricks one time, and that's a very, I don't know if he got it from Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee had a similar quote with that. But the point is that if you want to be really good at magic, master this one trick and then you could do it flawlessly. But if you just want to do a really mediocre job, you're going to end up making mistakes and no one's going to be impressed by anything. You're going to be trying to impress people by showing them all the stuff that but each one is going to be done really poorly. And then it's going to lead to this overall degradation. Okay. Any other additions or questions on this one? Good. We're keeping a good pace. Ariel, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe can you go back to the pasuk? Yeah. So can you say that maybe sichel here means that he kind of has a deep understanding of how to use his chachma using the facts and everything around him, to make an educated decision.
Yeah.
He has a systematic way of going about it. He's not kind of coming up with this out of thin air. He's using what he has, and he's kind of implementing his own chachma, and that's kind of being a visionary in a sense. I'm just going to use that term just for simplicity. And and the reality is and I think this is going back to Rivki's approach. I think that it's important to praise someone like that. I think you should go out of your way to praise him, because you want people like that to further their visions, because they're a benefit to society and they're a benefit to the world. Good. Yeah. If you don't praise them, they'll get the look, everyone has an ego. Yeah. Mishlei is talking to human beings, and I think for their own sake, it's important to praise them because it's necessary for their existence to come up with an iPhone. That's pretty big. Yeah. So however, that doesn't mean you should praise everyone. And this is going back to Rivki's approach. If they're kind of coming up out of things with without any basis, just because they for some twisted reason think this is appropriate, eventually they'll be they'll be recognized as someone who just doesn't know anything, and they will just naturally be
that's really good. Yeah, I do think that this is a good alternative reading or application to Rivki's, but it's really good for teachers and parents. Okay, which is you should praise people for their intellect when they display good judgment, and you should kindly kindly point out their mistaken thinking, because this will ultimately be for their benefit and for the benefit of everyone involved. And again, I see like there are, okay, so difference in style here, okay? Generally speaking, Rabbi Moskowitz did not praise students and did not praise questions and stuff. You knew that you asked a good question or raised a good point purely from the content of his answer and like how he engaged in it. I can't help but say that that's a good question or a good idea. Like I haven't tried, but like I don't think I could stop it if I did. And I think I say that a lot, but I hope that I only say it when it is true, and that, you know, like I don't think I say it when it's not true. And if I have a question or a problem with what you're saying, then I'll say it. I mean, I guess you guys can tell me if that's true or not. But I think that it promotes a good group dynamic in a learning environment, because everyone then feels encouraged to put forth like what they think is a good idea, and like they know that it's going to be, yeah, on the surface, if people praise even your bad ideas, then it feels good, but deep down you know that that's not really good. You feel like you got away with it, you know. And so in an environment where everyone is on board to try to like support the good and then like assist the bad, everyone wins, and it like just positively reinforces itself in a good way. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'll call him Rifki. Yeah, Ariel, go ahead. You this is your idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I also wanted to, and I think the answer to the, I think this is Ayala's question about like the ish and, you know, the lave.
Yeah.
I think with this approach is, you know, the answer is pretty, you know, simple. It's because the ish is referring to the man himself. Like you want to cater to his emotional feelings. Like that is man.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's who you.
Yeah.
You want. You know, but the lave, it's like, you know, you're not really targeting him specifically. You're targeting his thoughts, his knowledge. You know,
okay.
like you're separating. It's like I read this negotiating book, and you know, he said, "Be hard on the problem and soft on the person." You have to separate the two.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So the reason why the second half focuses on the lave is because you're not correcting, you're not degrading the whole person, but just the crookedness of their mind in that moment.
And I think that's a part of someone else's idea also. Yeah, I forgot whose, but
okay, no, that's good. I like that. That's really good. Yeah, do you want to add or ask?
Yeah, I was gonna say this about Ayala's idea, but then I didn't get a chance. Just very quick point that I don't think this was said, but maybe it was, that like after everything that we were saying about this idea, that if you're the type of person that wants to be praised for their intellect so badly that like you'll basically go to any length to like get that praise, but then you end up being degraded, that's the opposite of what you want. So in that case, like that's a very Mishlei point.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's a good point, right? So the overextension in the second half is a Mishleic mida keneged mida, right? You want so badly to be praised by your intellect, praised for your intellect, that you end up saying something that makes you degraded for your intellect. That is a very good Mishlei mida keneged mida. Okay, Avital, you're up.
Okay, so I feel like I took a little bit of a different approach in terms of like, I guess who it's talking to.
Okay, I was counting on you. I was counting on you seeing something in a different way. Okay, no pressure. Go ahead.
So I remember on our homeworks, you used to tell us to come up with titles kind of for and for me, it really helped me remember the pesukim. Yeah. So for this one, and I don't always have them, but this one I would call like how to make friends and influence people, like kind of like that book. Okay. And I was thinking of it like it's saying here, like according to intellect, a man should be praised, right? So if it's talking to like me, I'm the person that's looking and evaluating people like constantly, obviously, whether it's like in TV or real life or whatever it is, that like those are the people that you should praise, the people with intellect, not the people, it doesn't say the people with money, it doesn't say the people with fame, it doesn't say the people who like look nice or whatever it is, but that like those are the people who you really want to praise and be a part of them, versus somebody who's distorted in what's important. Clearly it's not wisdom that they have. Not only should they not be praised, but they should be disgraced. And in that, like, first of all, you'll have real friends. They're real because they have real knowledge, and people with seichel are not filled with these like silly like values, or like not real values. Like seichel is a real thing. And second, that people will see you as a truth seeker, and you'll be able to gain influence within that community, that you're somebody who's anti like this like nonsense stuff, but you're somebody who's like super pro seichel, and I think that perpetuates the cycle of seichel.
Okay. Well said. Okay, so let me just go down here. Okay, so Avital is the how to win friends and influence people. Let's say how to win seichel friends, right? Right, is that so just to clarify here, so are you talking about this is like advice for cultivating your social group?
Cultivating your social group, but also like I think that's a byproduct of it, but that you as a person, like every single person that you come into contact with and you like make these impressions, like this should be a part of that process. Okay, in your interactions with people,
focus on praising seichel, and doing the opposite with foolishness. This will allow you to find other truth seekers, okay, and avoid the opposite, which will what was it? Do you remember that last turn of phrase that you said about the which will perpetuate?
Like it perpetuates that cycle of
cycle of seichel. Yeah. I forgot if that's what you said, but that's it was something like that. Yeah. Okay, that is good. Let me just go back to the pasuk. I just want to make sure I'm seeing this inside in the right way. Right. Okay, yeah. I think that's going to fit into best into the meiri. So just note that this is going to fit into the meiri. Okay, which I want to read. Okay. Any comments or questions on?
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
So I hear there's not really like a question on the idea, but how, according to this idea, like how should a person go about the like scorning like the second half of the pasuk? Because it seems like, you know, we have like the idea that you're not supposed to like embarrass people,
right?
And it seems like it should this really be what you're focusing on, like scorning people who have bad traits?
I have an answer, but I want to hear if Avital already has an answer. You have one already?
Saying like practically how, like in what way should somebody be disgraced? I guess it's definitely like context dependent. Like if you have somebody who's really going around and spreading like nonsense, like I think you should be vocal loud. And I think like if you have that ability and you're somebody who has a voice, maybe because you've like aligned yourself with all of these people who have seichel, you'll have that ability to. And I think if you're somebody who's looking for people with seichel and you become somebody who has seichel because they're hanging out with people with seichel, then you'll be able to do that in a proper way that's real and genuine, because at the end of the day, that's your goal.
Okay, so I think I agree with what you're saying, but I think I have an easier answer that's consistent with what you're saying. I just want to see if okay, there is a of course it's in Megillus Esther. Okay, Vayibez be'enav lishloach yad b'Mordechai levado. It was disgraceful or degraded or scornful in Haman's eyes to send forth his hand against Mordechai alone. So lavuz bizui can be in your mind. It does not have to be verbal or in action, So I think that the easiest answer to what Avital is saying is like Avital started to say when she said her idea, that like in your mind, you should downplay and degrade these ideas, not necessarily verbally or like making fun of people. And that is personal. Like, you should find different ways to do that, but but I think it's a
yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
But then it seems like it wouldn't have a social effect. But maybe I was misinterpreting, but it seemed like that was the idea was for.
Right. I think that what do you call? I think that the social effect that it'll have is it will keep you, these things are attractive. And I think you need to come up with strategies to counterbalance that for yourself in order to keep the forward motion going towards the seichel people, I have an example. Okay, so this is kind of an example that it's a little bit of a complicated example, but I think it illustrates the point. So Johnny told me that he once saw a father who had values of seichel or whatever, and he had a young daughter who was like, I don't know if she was like in single digits, I don't know, like 5 or 6 or 7, whatever, who had who like put on a dress or something for Shabbos, and she said something like, Daddy, don't I look pretty? Now, and a lot of parents, a lot of fathers in that case would say, oh, you're the most beautiful girl in the world. You look so beautiful, And this father said, yeah, you look really nice, and he didn't make a big deal of it. Okay, why? And so I think Johnny had the discussion with him is that, and I've heard Rabbi Chait make the same points on the parenting tapes, is that you convey values to your kids based on how you praise them, and one of the big problems in this society is that women, especially women, men do this also, but women, end up judging their self-worth based on how they look, Now, where do they get that from? So people blame it on society, right? But a lot of it starts in the home, and if you make your, the idea that this parent had, and you can disagree with this, but I'm going to use this for the example, the idea that the parent had is, the voice that this kid is going to have in her head and the way she relates to the value is going to be kind of programmed over the course of her childhood by her parent. So she shouldn't have a negative self-image. That would be destructive, but she also shouldn't make her whole worth based on the fact that she gets a reaction from people about her looks and that beauty is the most important thing, So the reason why I'm saying this is you need to be aware that there's about approval and disapproval about certain qualities that you have. You need to find ways to like degrade those negative qualities, the unimportant qualities in your own eyes, and then pair that with the praising the good qualities in your own eyes and in terms of practice, in order to like cultivate this value. And again, there's different people could have different strategies, but I think that's or let's say like, Richard Feynman's father would always, talk about all the men in uniforms and like with medals and stuff. And he would kind of just like talk about them in a way that was, like that's just the clothing, like, like what is this person really being honored for, and he would kind of like cultivate that awareness that it's not the externals that really matter. It's the virtues that of character and intellect that led to those things, and that's what you should, so it's a subtle art, but I think it could be done on through your internal world as well. Okay, Moshe, you're up.
Can I add?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see the explosion. Yeah.
Just for like, I think what you're saying in terms of the attention thing could also be like practical of like in terms of what you give attention to in a conversation.
Yeah,
like
that's good.
People want attention in conversations. So like what you give attention to will be like whatever continued.
All right, that's good. I mean, how does this, I'm just going to write these 2 points. How does this degrading work? Okay, so answer is in terms of how you look at this in your mind, and in terms of what you give attention to, even in interacting with other people. Yeah.
So like you wouldn't have to embarrass someone, but just by not like acknowledging it, really.
Right. Pretend you didn't hear them. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. All right. Moshe, you're up.
Yeah. So I kind of think seichel here I'm going to be like defining as more like insight.
Okay.
And I think I really like when the Tергum K'tuvim treated Nave like lack of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's when
Oh, sorry, just to clarify, by the way, I just made a connection here. The reason why he's translating it as lack is he goes with nave, means removed. So one with a removed mind will be scorned. That's how he's like getting at. He's not just making it up. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, one who's in like a social situation where, they want to like have a social influence or control, or, perhaps they're trying to teach someone something or trying to give like a lesson to someone, a moral lesson. And someone who just relies on trying to get their point across entirely, relying on their intellect alone, is like someone to be criticized. Like seichel here is like insight, where there's a certain like social charisma, or like, I guess you could say, like way of presentation or influence, like way of influencing people. Used in combination with your intellect to like, actually convince people of a thing.
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me support you. I never understood this, but this is your idea is giving me one step closer to it. So the word seichel in Hebrew can mean there's two definitions of seichel. Okay, there's seichel, which means intelligence or some sort of like knowledge word, and then there's seichel, which also means success. Okay, and there's this pasuk which I think we reference in several places indirectly. I think it's in Mishlei. It might be in Tehillim. Like for example, wait. Okay, well there's hold on. There's one by David that says, Vayhi David l'chol d'rachav maskil v'Hashem imo. David was maskil in all of his ways, and God was with him. So the meforshim there say that it means he was successful. But there's a pasuk I'm thinking about in Mishlei. Hold on, let me just see. Umatza chen v'seichel tov be'enei Elokim adam. You will find chen, which is charisma or grace, and seichel tov in the eyes of God and man. So if you translate seichel there as intelligence, then it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't mean you'll find favor and good intelligence in the eyes of God and man. I think it's more along the lines of what Moshe is saying, some form of like, there's got to be a good word for it in English, but it is like you're describing, exactly like you're describing, of like good sense, maybe like you'll like people can say that there's this idea that is that like looks good on paper or is like very intelligent, but like someone who has no, good sense is also nothing, but I get the quality you're talking about. Okay.
The example I thought of is like, a professor who's, maybe, okay, like, he's written like 5 books, but, then when you go to his class, it's very absent-minded and he doesn't really know how to connect to anyone or get his ideas across, really.
Right. Okay, so let me write this down. And so this is Moshe, and this is going with the Tергum. Okay. Which is saying that a person will, and you're saying it's a will, I think, right? Not a should.
Yeah.
Will be praised according to his insight, okay, i.e., presenting ideas in a way that resonates with people on a like total level, for lack of a better term, okay, but one who lacks sense, okay, which is someone who is only like who thinks,
I think like it's like in an arrogant way, like, oh, what do I need to like do this for? You should just listen to me.
One who thinks that people will just be convinced on the basis. I'm actually going to make a note to myself. I'll Mishlei, what pasuk was that? 3-4. Of the ideas themselves will often be degraded. And I say often because I think, if you're a scientist talking to another scientist, then that'll work fine. But if you're a scientist talking to the general populace, it's not going to work. Yeah. Okay, that's good. That is a what do you call? That's for my English students. That's a very rhetoric based thing that of the 3 rhetorical appeals of ethos, pathos, and logos is the weakest. You can't just persuade people based on ideas themselves. You have to appeal to them based on your character and qualifications, and also you're appealing to their emotions. Yeah. Okay. Last idea of the night. Yeah. Or not last idea of the night. Last idea from the audio, from the group. Then we'll go to the meforshim. Yeah.
So the person who has a distorted mind, a distorted heart, is not a stupid person.
Right.
I'm thinking of the clever sociopath.
Uh-huh.
The clever sociopath, let's say I'm affiliated in a business relationship with him, and his negotiation comes up with something very clever and very dishonest and gets away with it.
Yeah.
My tendency might be either to keep my mouth shut or even have some praise for how clever he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so the pasuk is telling us, no, if you see the distorted mind, even if you're benefiting from it, the person should get disgrace or scorn.
Uh-huh. That's interesting. So what would you say the first half of the pasuk is saying then?
I'd have to give that some thought.
Okay, sure. So I definitely agree that the person in the second half is not necessarily stupid, and they could even be important. And I think that I think of what we said so far, the one that is most in line with that is Alex's idea, that they're using their intellect for bad purposes. So I guess let's classify this idea under here. This is kind of like the Ariel's companion to Alex's idea, which is that so for the second half is that even if someone displays great intellect, if they're using it for evil, you should degrade it. Yeah. So can we say that the first half is the opposite? That if a person is...
Yes, you could say the opposite. Even if the person's insight puts you at some sort of a disadvantage.
Right. Sorry, I asked the question wrong. No, I definitely see that. I meant for the first half of the puzzle. Sorry. Can the first half of the puzzle correlate to this idea?
I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah.
Can you repeat like the discrepancy?
Yeah, the discrepancy. So my dad's trying to say that the second half is saying that even if a person is smart, then if they use their mind for bad, for perverse purposes, then you should degrade them. So I'm trying to come up with what the first half would be saying. That would be like the counterpart of this idea. You could just say like that, in the way that Alex said, which is that the second half is just qualifying the first half. That you should praise a person for his intellect, but if they're using it for bad things, then you should degrade them. But I'm just trying to think if we can get a new idea for the first half. Okay, so at the very least, we have a different approach for the second half. So let's let that roll around the back of our minds. All right, I want to go to some meforshim. Okay, there's so many. Okay, all right. So Rבינו Yona says, according to what you find in a person of the portion of intelligence, roy l'shabcho, it is fit to praise him. V'al tavuz l'chaverach im lo nimsa bo min hasechel kashir hanimsa b'cha. This is a good lesson. Do not degrade your fellow if you don't find in him the same measure of intelligence that is found in you. Ach shabchinu lefi sichlo. Praise him according to his intellect. Ki kol ish asher bo chelek min hasechel. Every person who has a portion of intelligence, roy lahallo ima advim harbeh, whether it's a little or a lot. Okay, so that's a very new practical approach that we have not seen yet. Wait, did someone say something like that? Ayala did talk about the fact that people will praise you for whatever you have, but Rבינו Yona is making this into the ikar. Okay, I'll summarize after. V'nave lev yiheh lavuz misha da'ato mishubeshes, someone whose mind is messed up. Ukishiyishma ha'emes lo yodeh alav. So what does that mean? It means that when he hears the truth, he will not admit to it. V'lo yakiru, and he will not recognize it. Ach yiton alav behefko. Rather, he will claim the opposite against it. Mipnei shesvaraso hafucha, because his svara is his theorizing is like upside down. He'll be disgraced. Inenu roy lo lamahala v'lo l'chavod. He's not fit for praise. He's not fit for honor. Kidato mu'tedes l'sayeh v'la'azor hasheker. His mind is primed to aid and abet falsehood. V'leimor l'ra tov u'latov ra. And to say about evil that it is good, and good about good that it is bad. Ve'ein hasheker roy l'chavod ki'im lavus. And falsehood is not good to honor, but only to degrade. Okay, so let me just summarize this Rבינו Yona here. I'm not going to translate it. I'm just going to summarize it. Okay, which is you should praise a person for whatever intelligence they have. Based on their person based on their intelligence, for whatever intelligence they have, even if it's not at the same level as yours. Okay, because all intelligence is praiseworthy. Okay, but if a person has a mind which warps the truth, okay, and he gives examples, they don't admit to the truth when they see it. What were the other examples? Those were good ones. They okay, but they always but argue the opposite. I guess that was his main thing. Oh yeah, let's do that. Yeah. So then you should degrade them and not honor them, because their mind is primed to aid and abet falsehood. Yeah. So that's a very interesting reading. Yeah, Ayala.
So are you able to elaborate a little more on what exactly a mind which warps the truth would be? Like, is it a specific Mishlei character? Like, I feel like the Avil would do that, but
yeah, I mean, the Avil would do that in areas that go the Avil and the Ksil would do that in terms of when they don't like how reality is, or I guess the Avil would do that when he doesn't like how reality is. The Ksil would do that when the truth gets in the way of his pleasure seeking. The Russia would do that when the truth undermines his entire like edifice that he's trying to build up of the system with himself in the center. I think the reason why this is not a Mishlei archetype is everyone has areas where they're prone to doing this, and like, you know, I guess let's put it this way. Like all of Mishlei, even though this is not a Mishlei archetype, I do think that you know, you could you could do this in certain areas. Like I think we all know people who like, you know, when it comes to certain areas, then they're fine, but then when it comes to politics, or when it comes to religion, or when it comes to, like, you know, vaccines, then they suddenly get into this in this type of way. And you know, and it could be a whole bunch of reasons why their mind turns off there. Does that answer that question, Ayala? I hear you if you're saying anything.
Yeah, no, it answers it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I do want to develop it more, but I'm going to take the questions first. Yeah, Moshe?
Yeah, I don't really understand what the Hava and Rבינו Yona would be.
Yeah, that's what's bothering me too. Right? So why do we need to hear this? So I definitely see, I think there's a clear Hava meaning for the first half, okay? Because I do think that people praise intelligence as if there is an objective scale, and they think that people who have more intelligence deserve more praise. And if you don't have so much intelligence, then you deserve less praise. And it's unfortunate that, like, again, I've taught, you know, I mean, thankfully I didn't teach alongside lots of teachers like this, but I think that especially if you're new to teaching and you're a very intellectual person, you will be prone to not showing credit to your students based on where they're at. You know, you'll judge it by your own intellect, or by like the standards of, like, you know, of the field, you know, and that's a bad mistake. And I think, you know, I'm sure parents do this with their kids also, of, like, not recognizing that this kid is operating on his or her own level, and, like, you have to praise that on that level in order to develop to the level that you're at. You know, if you only, you know, if you just, like, it's a big problem of people not recognizing the developmental levels and like holding people to a standard that matches, you know, their own maturity and not their maturity. So I think that is a havamina. Now, why the second one? Why would you praise someone if their mind is a truth mangling machine, right? That's the difficult one.
Can you say that? What does that mean? That last part, the second half.
I mean, there are people who either because of their opposition to particular ideas, or because of just the way that their desires dictate their emotions influence their thinking, they just will warp the truth. They'll warp true ideas to fit their agendas, to just deny like the reality of this. I mean, I gave an example this morning. I'll turn off the recording. I'll say the example again. People are attached to ideas that are, that they think are Judaism, or are like, representative Judaism. And when they're confronted with the opposition, then like they just don't, they just don't acknowledge it. Like again, like I was asked actually a couple hours ago to do someone else's podcast to talk about the topic about like God, can God do the impossible? Right now, that's a very controversial topic. And I acknowledge that there are lots of different opinions, right? But what I intend to do is I intend to go through the meiri, the Rambam, the Sefer HaIkarim, and one more source. I forgot who the other source was. To just show how at least these four Rishonim have clear arguments where God can't do the impossible. Now, I understand if you don't want to believe it, right? But like there are people who won't even acknowledge that this is what these meforshim say. They won't even acknowledge. I've had people who are so disturbed by the notion that the Rambam thinks that magic and sorcery are false, right? And this is a well-known machlokas, right? Ramban believes that magic is real. Rambam believes it's all false. I've had people try to read into the Rambam and say that the Rambam can't hold that magic is false. And like, he was really only saying this because like people were taken in by like Greek philosophy. And like, he had to say this, like, it's just like, people just cannot, certain people are so attached to their ideas, they can't even acknowledge that other opinions exist, So what's
So what's the question? What exactly is your question right now?
Moses' question is, why do you need to be told not to why do you need to be told to degrade these people? They're intrinsically degradable, We have a powerful Havamina.
Can I give like a simple?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Possibly not. I don't know if this is like a great answer, but I think that on a superficial level, I think we were saying this in other ideas. You can be impressed by how smart someone is.
Yeah.
Somebody who has like a very convoluted, well-sourced argument with great rhetoric. Even if they're wrong and degrading the truth, you might be impressed. And I think it's saying that's not appropriate.
Right. Yeah. You know what? That's actually a hold on just a second. Let me just see if this is relevant. I'm going to pause this. Okay. So this was Rav Pesach, Rabbi Chait's advice to the senior class of 2012. He sent them an email. And I don't know if he sent this, if he gives the same advice to multiple classes. But he said, "Dear seniors, at our last class, I did not have time to adequately formulate my farewell message to you, and I would like to use this opportunity to take a second chance to convey my thoughts to you. Although we have only been together for a very short time, over a few months, it has been my pleasure and honor to be your teacher. You have all impressed me with your intelligence." See, he's doing the seichel yichul ish, right? He's look, Rapez is one of the smartest people I know, but he's praising these 12th graders for their intelligence. Your sincere interest in learning and your appreciation of Torah and knowledge. Entering a new I know that you are nervous about leaving the comfort and safety of high school and entering a new uncharted phase of your life, but I want you to know that I'm sure that each one of you will continue to succeed in your endeavors. I'm not saying that it will be easy or that you won't feel discouraged at times, but you should always have confidence in the abilities which I have seen in you. I want to give you one piece of advice. When you see people who seem really smart or who have great memories or some other talent who are very impressive, you should never feel inferior or inadequate. Do not become unduly impressed with appearances and never surrender your right to think for yourself and trust in your own mind. It is often the case that there is a deep wisdom that is not found with the fast mind, but resides in the slow, careful, methodical thinker. Please feel okay. So I think that's great advice, but it's related to this, is that you can get impressed by these, the brilliant thinker or the genius or the expert in the field. But in reality, you have to know how to call out distorted minds when you see them, again, not necessarily verbally, but you need to know how to like degrade them in your own mind. And if someone's saying something that is utterly foolish, then don't be taken just by the fact that it's a great person, has a great reputation. That's a good idea. I like that idea.
I was just gonna add to that, like, I think the reason why you should call them out is twofold. One is because, like, you want to put down that stupidity in the world.
Right.
Like, it's acknowledging, like, if you just let it go, it's almost like what's this, shtika koda, in a way. Like, even though you personally may not agree with it, but like, you're not, it's like what you were, it's like what you were saying in your Wednesday night share, Tefilah, like there is a value in saying it. Right. So that actually gets back to the pasuk that I do want to come back to this year, but the pasuk I recently referenced that we did in the Mishlei Shabbaton of answer a fool according to his foolishness, lest he be wise in his own eyes, but then also don't answer a fool according to his foolishness, lest you be considered like him. So you have to know when to say it and when not to. But I take your point. Hold on a second. I'm just going to write this down before I forget it. The Hava Amina of the second half is that sometimes it's easy to get impressed by someone based on their reputation or their dazzling intellect. And this is telling you to degrade mentally or verbally when you see evidence of a warped mind. Tamara, you have something to add to the Rבינו Yona or to ask on it, or is this
I have a separate question, not related to this.
Do you have something?
I have a question on this. I feel like we already said it, but I just want to make sure, like, in terms of what Rבינו Yona is saying, this would like apply to different types of knowledge, right? Like no specific type.
I think so. I think this has to be subject specific and person specific, scenario specific. Oh, I want to say one more thing also. Regarding what Ariel said about the this being beneficial to others, I think that the best case scenario is when you pull off the emperor has no clothes moment, where like if someone is posing as knowing the truth and they're really just basing themselves off of nothing or off of a stupid idea, and if you can say it in a way, again, I'm not saying you should always do this, but I'm saying that if you can say it in a way that will make people realize that this person has no credibility, that can really save a lot of people from making mistakes. Tamar.
So this is a question on Rבינו Yona, about Rבינו Yona. I don't think it's on. Do you think that he's specifically talking about like a whole person as opposed to like an argument? That's, I think his language kind of sounds like that, but I wasn't sure if he was like specifically saying that.
Good question. Well, he's definitely in the first part saying that you should praise the person for whatever measure of intellect they have. So that might be where we started off. And the second part does sound like talking about a whole person. Yeah, it does sound like that.
I don't exactly have a question on that. I don't know why that specifically, but yeah.
I think the pasuk definitely sounds like that. I would feel comfortable saying that this is just like any other time when we talk about Mishlei people as though they're absolute characters, that really it's just these things could manifest in certain areas, but he's definitely talking like that. Okay, we don't have time to go through all of them. I just want to go through a couple more just so you can see what there are. I don't want to like analyze these in depth because I want to stop soon. Okay, well, Meiri. Okay, I'm just going to reference this for people who know it, and I'm not going to explain it for people who don't yet. Meiri goes through the 4 perfections, and then quotes my favorite pesukim in Yirmiyahu, and says that this is what 2 pesukim in Yirmiyahu, and then says that this is what it's talking about. So it's like near and dear to my heart. Rabag says, "Ha'ish hamaskil yihula lefi sichlo ki hachacham mushabechas la'nashim kulam v'kulam nichsafim elecha." Also, this is interesting. The intelligent person is praised according to his intellect because chachma is praiseworthy to people. To all people, and all of them desire it, as we have mentioned in what came before. Someone whose intellect is warped, he errs in concepts. He will be degraded. He will not be able to like last in an argument because of his confused ideas. People who argue with him will defeat him, and he'll get degraded for this reason. So it's interesting. He's saying that like everyone admires intelligence, and I think that's an interesting point that fits in really well with the words of the pasuk, which we didn't really explore. That intelligence is universally admired. And if you say like no, like, well, what about Picasso or Beyonce or or Biden, you'll find, yeah, right. So I think you'll find, if you think about it, that the reason why these people are admired, they're admired because of some talent that they have, but like the admiration is really for their intelligent use of their talent, or for the fact, like, it's intelligence in their field, like, and it's some way of intelligence. And I think, I'm not saying that this is the only thing person is admired for. Like, I'm sure people admire people admire like beauty, right? And beauty you can have without intelligence. But I think I think people recognize that that's almost like admiration as an object, not admiration as a chefta, not admiration as a god, like admiration as a person. So it is interesting that like this is, I guess, one of the premises of Mishlei, that he wants to teach you to be intelligent, because intelligence will help you succeed in everything you do. Even if you want to be, do something like frivolous or even something evil, intelligence will make you more successful in that. Now, if it's evil, it'll ultimately be bad for you. But like, it's something that people gravitate towards. So I like that first half. I don't know why he puts the second half in terms of debate. That if you mess up ideas, then you'll mess up in debate, and people who argue with you will beat you. I'm not sure why he takes it into that. Yeah, Tamar?
Just putting this in the sphere of impressing people.
Yeah.
Like, I think if people are impressed by intelligence, but they're not impressed by someone who's fumbling in an argument.
Okay. Okay. That is good. That is good. Right. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that, but that is a true fact. And I would also say, by the way, that it could be that Rambam does learn Mishlei to be he learns a lot of pesukim in Mishlei to be about instructions in thinking and instructions in learning. So it could be this one is one of those pesukim. I didn't see how he does the previous pesukim. So, okay, here's another one, Yosef Kmachhi. This is the Radak's father. I like this first point, which speaks to something that Alex asked. I think Alex asked the question. Oh yeah, is the seichel in this context a changeable entity or not? Okay, so the Rav Yosef Kmachhi Sefer Chukah says, "Lefi seichlo v'lo lefi ashro v'lo lefi gvurasa," not praised by his wealth, not according to his power. Ki ein lo shevach hazeh, he has no praise for this. Ki mazalo v'tivohu, that's just his luck and his nature. Okay, which implies that the intellect that we're praising this person for is the intellect that they develop. In other words, he's saying that there is a certain amount, like, you might be rich, but like, but if you had been born in other circumstances, then like, you would not be rich, or your strength, yeah, you got good genes, but intelligence, I think what he's saying about intelligence here, I'm inferring from that point, is that he is talking about like the extent to which you cultivated your ability to think. Now, it's true that had you been born in different circumstances, you might not have had the opportunities, but in point of fact, you did use the no, maybe I'm contradicting myself. Yeah, Alex, what do you want to ask or say?
I just feel like his point can be easily contradicted, because even if you develop your intellect, there's always a chance in your old age you can like become demented, or you get like a traumatic brain injury. It is kind of, in a way, luck how much intelligence you can get to and maintain. Yeah,
but I don't think that I mean, the Mishlei in general doesn't, like, you can't invalidate good advice with exceptions. Like good advice is based on probability. And probability wise, if you work on your intellect, then you will be praised for it. Like, yeah, there are a very, 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 very small fraction of people who like get traumatic brain injuries, and that's sad for them. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't work on your intellect if you want to get praised for it. Right. Okay,
that's fair. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, and that's not just me. That is a principle in Mishlei. I mean, that's I think we saw this. We haven't reviewed it this year, but the Ibn Kaspi, I think I highlighted it last time. Says, it's either in his first commentary or second commentary on chapter 10, I think, or is it chapter 1? Hold on. Oh, here we go. Yeah, V'da'ot ki gezeres ze hasefer stamios. The sentences in this pasuk are unqualified. Okay, I mean they're stated as universals. Ritzoni she'ein bam choma. They have no limit. They're not qualified. V'kavana brov elo she'em kololos. The majority of them are universals. Ki kavanas ba'amro ben chacham kol ben chacham. For example, when it says a wise son, it means every wise son. V'chena kavana brubam she'em efsharios me'odios. But then the intention in many of them are like good possibilities. Like efshar means possible, me'od means a lot. Okay. V'im be'emes yesh b'zeh hasefer she'ena me'od. Oh, sorry. So some of them are like high probabilities, what we would call it. V'im be'emes yesh b'zeh hasefer she'ena me'odios. There are some pesukim in this book that are not even talking about high probability. V'nachon she'im mimin ha'efshari b'shaveh. Some of them are like equally possible. Im mimin asher al ham'at. And some of them are even like infrequent. Yeah. Hold on a second. Is that the point? Yeah. So in other words, there are even the ones that are stated in general principles are just true of the majority of the time, and some of them are even true of the minority of the time. But he's still bringing out a truth. Okay. I think there's one more that I wanted to do. No, I think that's good for today. I think we got a lot of ideas. Let's do a quick review. Whew. Okay. So we have Isaiah's idea, which is that when you're at a crossroads in decision making, fall back on the lo lishma of do that which will make people praise your intellect. And that's really like Rabbi Moskowitz always said, the best lo lishma is the best ulterior motive is to want to be viewed as a chacham. Because in general, that'll make you make better decisions. Even though you want to do it just for the honor, for the glory, for the ego, if you follow that principle, you'll end up in a good place. Act based on what will make you look intelligent, and like a chacham, and avoid things that make you look like a fool. Alex said that the pasuk is giving a general statement and then qualifying it, that a person will be praised for their intellect. However, if they have a warped heart, which means that they apply it in for evil or for bad, then they will be degraded. And then my dad said it means that they should be degraded if they use it that way. Rivki says that this pasuk is saying, a person will be praised for their intellect. But now the question is, well, is that really true? Well, you should find yourself in a group. You should cultivate a group where this will happen. And likewise, where you will be, scorned for misusing your intellect. And then that will lead you into a group where you'll have positive reinforcement and develop your intellect. And Ariel put that into from a descriptive to from prescriptive in you finding your social group to prescriptive in terms of like, if you were in the position of giving praise, you should praise other people's intellect, because that'll be good for them, which will ultimately be good for everyone. And same thing with the degrading people who misuse their intellect. Ayala said that you should realize that people are only going to praise you for your intellect, but they will degrade you for like distortions or removal of intellect, which means they better to be conservative in your thinking. And like Rav Pesach said in that thing, better to take one small step than to try to like overstep your bounds and like try to like dazzle people with your mind, because you'll make a mistake and then people will degrade you and you won't get, you'll lose out on the thing you wanted to get. And Avital was saying how in terms of cultivating friends, you want friends who are real and authentic Tzelem Elokims, and the way you do that is by praising people with seichel and things of seichel and degrading, downplaying the opposite, and then you'll find each other and help each other develop. Moshe, based on the Targum, was saying that a person will be praised according to his seichel, in the sense of like matzah chen v'seichel tov b'nei Elokim v'adam. I still don't know a good English word for this quality. Some sort of like when people recognize that you have like, I feel like this is the type of thing that there's some American idiom for, like something like good sense, but I don't know what it is. But if you're going to try to convince people totally based on intellectual things, then you're going to be degraded. Rבינו Yona says that you should praise a person. Don't praise people only based on an objective scale of intellect. Praise them based on their level, because all intellect is good and you can't exceed your level. And don't get dazzled by someone's intellect, but if you see them warping truth in a certain area, then you should degrade that. Okay. So
are you able to send these like
in the chat?
all the ideas? Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And I these are in my note form, so hopefully they make sense to you. But yeah. Okay. That was a rich haul. Got a lot of Mishlei gold tonight. Yeah. Yes, Mom.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I learned a new thing on how to raise my hand. So
Yeah.
wanted to leave you with this thought. Did you ever see the sign that I had that said "Never argue with a fool" because people might not be able to tell the difference?
Oh yeah, that's from Mishlei. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's from Hawaii, actually, but yes.
Well, Mishlei came up with it thousands of years before Hawaii.
I know.
So, yeah.
All right. See you later.
Okay. Okay.
Rabbi was great job. You did great.
No, stop. Shlomo did great. Yeah. Okay. You guys did great.
Right.
Seriously, right? I mean, that was good ideas.
I think there was an idea from every single person.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, I didn't give my idea, but we'll have to.
Do you have an idea?
I did have an idea. I had a half idea, but
Well, go for it. You can't just tell you out.
it was based on that. I think it was in line with Rביnu. Let me just check. Hold on. Let me see if I did write up partial idea when I was trying to teach this in high school. If I didn't, then I'll try on my own. What was this 12:8? Oh, see, okay. Well, I'll show you the notes that I have. See, this is not complete. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have no idea what this means. I haven't read this since like 2000.
Yeah, are you sharing it?
Yeah, I'm sharing it.
Oh, there we go.
Man is praised according to his intellect, but one who lacks intelligence will be despised. A person may be praised according to his intellect in the following ways. One, directly. One, subcategory one, first-hand evaluation of the knowledge itself. The only individuals who can praise someone in this way are those who have equal or more knowledge. For example, only a genius like Einstein can accurately praise a genius like Newton. Two, first-hand evaluation of knowledge via the results. Even individuals who are on a lower level of knowledge can praise a person's intellect based on the results of that intellect. For example, I don't know computers, but I can appreciate the genius of Steve Jobs as reflected in the iPod. Okay. Three, secondhand evaluation of the knowledge itself. Laymen can rely on experts to evaluate other experts. For example, I can't evaluate whether Descartes was a genius mathematician, but the fact that all other mathematicians praise him as a mathematical genius is enough for me. Indirectly. Okay, four, primary results. We can appreciate a person's intellect because we benefit from it. Okay, so that's, I appreciate Steve Jobs' intellect because I like using my iPod. And secondary results, we can praise a person's intellect based on his reputation and his celebrity aura. For example, Steve Jobs and Einstein are cool. The same is true for these opposites. Okay, those were my notes apparently. Oh, I have another one. Let's see this, 12:8. Yeah, these are drafts. Okay, this was not complete. Whenever a person is praised for his good deeds and accomplishments, he is actually being praised for his intellect. Oh, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Likewise, so I guess I did start to say my idea from the Rambam. Likewise, whenever a person is despised for his wrongful actions and failures, he is actually being despised for his lack of intelligence. Whenever a person is praised for his accomplishments, he is actually being praised for his intellect. The faculty by which he made the decision. Oh, I think these are just two drafts of the same thing. The faculty by which he made the decisions which brought him his success. This is evident from the fact that people are not praised for events that came about by chance. For example, winning the lottery, right? People are envious, but they don't praise you for winning the lottery or by other people inheriting a fortune. Likewise, when a person makes a decision which clearly, and then that was the end of the draft. Yeah. So I think there's something there, but I'm too tired to go into it now. By the way, I want to say about Avital. Sorry. Yeah, Isaiah. Not sorry.
I just wanted to ask, what's an iPod?
Yeah, I know, right? That shows how old the thing was. good one. I want to say about to Avital when Avital mentioned that in the homework assignments, the standard assignments, I would make you guys come up with titles. I can't tell you how useful that's been for me because we did just hit a milestone last week. Hold on. Which is we are now over 400 Mishlei Shiurim, and the only way that I remember the ideas is I come up with a title, for every single episode, and like it helps me to remember. Otherwise, this would just be numbers, And coming up with the titles is like such an essential thing, and not just for remembering when I want to find something, but I think I had one that was similar to. Yeah, so we had one called "How to Lose Friends and Not Influence People," and like the titles, like you associate the catchy title with the idea and the pasuk, and then you could like use the idea based on that. So it ended up being like I had you guys come up with the titles because I thought it was a good way to cognitively process it in like a snapshot, but it comes up with it became a really useful organizational tool as well for me. So that was a good system.
I gotta listen to that share.
Yeah, I don't. That one I haven't to. I'm gonna need to look at it to repeat it. But okay, very good night. That was good ideas.
Can I just ask, is it
Yeah.
okay if I like invite somebody random to come to the shiur, or would you prefer not?
No, that's totally fine. The only thing I don't like is which thankfully no one's done yet. I don't want anyone posting the invitation to the shiur in some massive WhatsApp chat where we get a flood of like random people. Someone did that once to my WhatsApp group, and like I was just crazy. So like if it's someone who you know and you're vouching for and think that it would be a good fit or want to expose them, then that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. All right.
Thank
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Have a
Good
good night.
night.